This is the CIA. We're here to tell you that this is an illegal podcast. We don't want you listening to this, but there's nothing we can do to stop you.
Here comes the light we see, bringing...
Gerald, can you come in here?
What is it that you want? I'm trying to do some accounting for our business. What do you want?
I'm starting a new business. It's energy healing.
What is this, like the tarot card thing? Like I told you, we're not doing any more of the tarot cards. Like I told you, we don't have space for all these tarot card decks that you keep buying.
No, I love the tarot. I'm a very spiritual person, and I want to try something new. My job at PetSmart is just wearing me down. I can't groom any more pets. I'm having to get up every morning and take Zyrtec. I'm allergic to dogs anyway. I don't understand how I ended up in this business.
You shouldn't have spent all that money going to cosmetology school. I told you that it's going to be a bad career decision for you, but you didn't listen to me. But now here you are, grooming the little, what are they, the Shih Tzus and the little foo-foo dogs. I don't understand what you're doing over there. I told you, you gotta cut human hair. That's what you got a degree in. And then you're coming over here and you're gonna cut all the little cat dogs. Like, I don't understand what you're doing.
Gerald, you know I have social anxiety. Sometimes I just can't be around people.
All right, fine. What is it? What is this thing that we're doing? Like, I don't understand. Why is there crystals everywhere? I got crystals on the mantle. I got crystals on the desk. But there's crystals on the kitchen table. Where are all these crystals coming from? How much money have you spent on these crystals? I swear to God, if you max out the credit card again on these crystals, I'm going to be really mad at you.
It's for energy. It's for focusing energy, Gerald. Why do you not understand this?
Because I don't understand what any of this is. You just, like, watched 1 or 2 YouTube videos, and now you're doing all this stuff in the house. I don't understand what's going on. The apartment smells like incense all the time now.
Gerald, it wouldn't smell so strong if you would quit trimming the stick. I told you to quit trimming the stick. The birch stick or oak or whatever the hell kind of stick it is it's very strong when you trim it like that. It smokes way more.
I'm not talking to you about the stick anymore, okay? I told you I'm going to trim the stick because you're leaving ashes all over the kitchen table, okay? That's going to just be how it is. You need to just deal with that, all right? But why am I here? Why'd you call me into here? I want to go. I got stuff to do.
Look, life doesn't have to be about accounting all the time, Gerald. Just come in, just sit here. I'm going to do an energy healing, and maybe it'll help you a little bit. You seem very stressed lately. You get very upset when I'm doing tarot, and you're always complaining about how much smoke there is. So just sit down for a minute and let me do my thing. Let me heal you. I'm very spiritual. You know this.
Fine. I'll sit.
Okay, there you go. Okay, just lie back, close your eyes. I want you to visualize a meadow full of butterflies and maybe like, I don't know, like a songbird. Maybe it's next to like a nice pond where there are like, I don't know, heron or some kind of water bird in the cattails. Just start to really lean into that and breathe deep. Take some nice deep breaths down into your abdomen. We're going to align your chakras.
I don't know what a chakra is. What is that? Is that like some sort of spinal column thing? Like, I don't understand what that is.
I'm not really sure what a chakra is either, but that's okay. We're going to align it. Just trust me, Gerald. I'm very spiritual. You know this about me.
Ow, Jesus Christ, what are you doing? Why are you twisting me like that? I don't understand.
Just be still.
Let go of me. This is not what I thought you were going to be doing. I thought you were going to do some like magic crystal shit, and now you're over here twisting me like a fucking pretzel. What are you doing?
You've got to get into the right place, and then I'll do the energy healing.
Ow!
I don't think I've told you this. One time I probably did tell you this. I went to the Earth Fair here in town.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I'm pretty sure I told you this. And they had just put out 4 packs of Dogfish Head 120 minute, which I didn't realize at the time what Dogfish Head 120 minute was. And they were $12 for the 4 pack. I think they had maybe messed something up.
Mm-hmm.
And I drank 3 out of 4 of them that night.
Yeah, that'll fuck you up. It's 16% alcohol.
Yeah.
It's barely legally a bear. So, bear.
Yeah. But you know what I drink now? Dogfish Head 30 minute.
30
4%.
minute?
Yep.
90 minute or GTFO.
Anyway, let's talk about how nobody wants to work anymore, Dale. I don't want to work anymore.
Me neither. Working sucks. Jobs suck. Universal basic
Jobs?
income. Come on. fucking with that. Give me that shit.
Yeah. And that money, it can just come from wherever. I mean, nobody has to work for that either.
Yeah, we are definitely pro modern monetary theory here. We are pro MMT
Right.
on the post reality. Because in the post reality, money doesn't matter anymore. So why not just make it up? It's all ones and zeros anyways. Don't even have to print that shit.
I mean, there still has to be a lot of work, you know. That does suck. But if you weren't doing work just for money, then you would just do the amount of work that was necessary for the thing you were doing, you know?
I don't know. I flip-flop between being a workaholic and like fucking hating work.
Yeah, that's the trap of late stage capitalism.
Mm-hmm.
You feel guilty when you don't do enough, but then that guilt translates into you simply not doing enough.
The self-fulfilling prophecy.
You know? Yeah.
Interesting.
Let's see. I'm hiring right now. Help at work.
You're hiring? Give me a job.
And it's an entry-level position that pays way better than I got paid when I started.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody except for the one person I want to hire that I encourage to apply, applied for the job at all. Dale, this is a entry-level job, which is like junior to my job. So it's like very hands-on. It's like pretty free. You're doing things all day, creative in that sense.
Yeah.
And nobody has applied for it. Nobody.
Nobody? Not a single person?
Not a single person. Like,
Did you post it on monster.com?
no, I did not. Is that all people do? They just like go to whatever job aggregator, like they get their news?
Yeah. What's that?
If it doesn't get put right in front of you in a like in your doom scroll, then you don't see it.
Yeah, you got to go to your LinkedIn and get a job that way.
It just blows my mind that like you can post a job like this and nobody would apply for it, you know?
I don't know. Got to be making 6 figures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
6 figures. That's what minimum. Verbally, 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
if I'm not making 6 figures, I'm just going to work at Starbucks.
Yeah. Where you can not have your union contract validated and then they just close the store, which is what they like to do. Yeah, I don't want to work. Fuck it. Working sucks. I just want to play with my street shark.
You know, life was represented to you a certain way when you were 6 and you had your Street Sharks and your He-Man toys and all that. And
No, He-Man's stupid.
ever since then, it's just been a series of lies.
Yeah. Everything sucks after you turn 12, I think. And that's when everything starts going downhill.
That's when life starts to go downhill. Yeah.
People start having expectations of you and stuff like that. It sucks. That's right, dear listener.
Yeah.
Don't grow up. Fuck it. Be a child forever. Be a man or woman child. Or a them child. Just be a child. Act like a child. Spend your money like a child. Just fucking, it don't matter. It don't matter. Don't be an
It
adult.
really doesn't.
Being an adult sucks.
Go live with Peter Pan on whatever island he lives on.
Neverland. Thank you very much. God. Like you don't know fucking anything.
I do know. I actually did know that. It's not an island. It's in the sky.
Yeah. It's an island in the sky. How's the samurai doing?
Samurai? I
Yeah,
already told you.
I know. I'm
that-
giving you a lead in to talk about
My driver's seat broke.
it. It'll spring right up your butthole.
My driver's seat broke. No, the seat back.
Yeah. So when you lean back, then you fall into the back seat. Like Commando when Arnold Schwarzenegger ripped out the front seat so he could fit in that little lady's car.
No, I have I have one of my spare dog food containers behind my back seat right now. So that my seat can't lean back any. It's just like I have a dog food container behind it.
Just propping it up. What is it, my office chair? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
It rusted through. The arm on the seat back rusted all the way through. I was driving down the road and I was like, what the hell, my seat feels crooked. So I kind of grabbed it and I was like, oh, it's loose. I guess I have to tighten a bolt. And then maybe another mile down the road, it just broke on me. It wasn't broken all the way, so I didn't crash and die or anything, but it was pretty jarring. Scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, with your seat breaks when you're in the middle of traffic, I bet. We had a bunch of storms roll through the last couple days. We had a Dorado, I think is what it is. It's basically like an on-land, like, fast-moving hurricane or whatever with, like, up to 90-mile-per-hour winds and stuff like that. That was fun.
Wow.
And then I realized that the front window on our house there's like a gap that if the wind is like coming straight on and pushing the, like the water straight towards the house as opposed to like down or at an angle, it just pushes the water through the window.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Blows it right through.
That's fun. Can't figure out how it's leaking. There's no hole. I have no idea where the water stems out of, but it just pushes it through the window glass, I guess, into the living room.
It's like reverse osmosis. It's just like a reverse osmosis membrane.
Yeah, it's just going through the fucking solid glass like David Blaine. I don't understand how it's happening. So that's something I get to try and figure out this weekend.
Oh, that does sound fun. That sounds like one of those houses we looked at buying.
Yeah? Which one? The tin roof house?
Yeah. Oh, that's unfortunate, man.
Well, we got to put a bid in on the single wide Oasis because that is what the Discord told us that we should bid on.
I guess, man. I mean, I made it pretty clear which one we should get.
Yeah, well, you left it up to democracy, and clearly democracy has failed you once again. All right. Short banter, or do we want to go at anything else in the tank for tonight?
No, that's a good banter.
Okay. Let's kick over to commercials.
We gonna do commercials?
Totlers decided that they're not going to sponsor this one, too. Curious how they only want to sponsor the episode about tea, but whatever.
Yeah. Did they know it was about tea beforehand?
I mean...
Because I don't remember seeing that one on the schedule, honestly.
It might have been part of the agreement.
I see.
I mean, you left the business side up to me. I mean, I handle it. I mean, we get paid.
That's true.
Quit complaining.
That's true. The business side is up to you. So, like, what if I just decide I'm not doing this tonight?
I mean...
What are we going to put out?
I can get Raul in here. He'll help me out. He's got tarot cards that are worth reading.
Yeah.
Dear listener, are you finding a hard time losing that stubborn belly fat? Well, have I got news for you. The JW weight loss system is guaranteed within 90 days to help you lose an indeterminate amount of weight. That's right. No subscription fees, no boxes, no weight loss management trainers. Just one simple email sent straight to you for $90. Why don't you check it out now and sign up for the JW weight loss mailing list now via the DreamWeb 2.0 web app.
In all of my podcasting career, I have never, ever advertised a product that I truly believed in. But Dale, all of that changed when I tried Mike's Good Nuts.
What do you mean you've never believed in any of the products that we've used and reviewed?
I don't think we were paid to believe, to use them. Were we? I mean, I just kind of say what they tell us to say, mostly.
You mean you don't? I thought that it was kind of implied that we had to use them.
Oh, well, anyway, Dale, Mike's starts with only the freshest peanuts, then simmers them in a brine so divine it'll tingle your spine.
Is that because of the arsenic?
I don't know, man. It just says it right here on the can. Next time, listener, you're in the mood for a snack, pick yourself up a can of Mike's Good Nuts. Also, try Mike's Perfect Pickles.
Commercials are done.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah. Do you have an intro?
Yeah.
Okay.
You gonna let me read it?
No, I gotta do what you did to me. No, you know what? Fuck you. I'm gonna do what you do to me and interrupt 16,000 times till I tell you to shut up.
It's because I'm a narcissist. It's a cluster B type personality.
I don't know what that is.
Whatever.
I don't know what that means.
I had to look it up. Yeah.
I had to look it up about me because I'm a narcissist.
Yeah. That's why we're podcasters.
Yeah, I was thinking about this the other day about like how people like don't want to hear other people's opinions, and then I was like, you know what? That's what I'm here for, to tell you my opinion. As
a person you don't respect, it's okay to listen to the opinion of somebody you don't respect.
Yeah, it's like going on Reddit, except it's in your ears.
It's non-threatening. Exactly.
Okay.
It's about as good as Reddit too. All right, that's good banter, free banter.
Yeah, bonus banter, if you will.
All right. All right. Everything is hologram. You've heard it here, dear listener. Whether it's the order in which events unfold so that all the cool stuff can exist, or just the map that you build in your head as you move through it all. But if that's true, that it's all hologram, what does it mean? If my body is just a hologram, is there a more perfect version that exists? If so, is it possible for me to tap into or connect with that more perfect version? I don't know. Really, I don't know anything, and in the end, all you can do is make narrative sense of what happens in your experience. Because that's all any of us are really doing. So just sit back and hang out with us as we enter the world of occluded bioinformatics, and remember, we aren't experts or doctors, and this is ultimately all for goofs. All right, Dale, what do you think, going into it, about energy healing?
What do I think about it? Like, my honest opinion?
Yeah, what do you think about it?
I think it's a bunch of silliness is what I think about it. So I'm expecting you to change my mind by the end of tonight, Joshua.
What if I told you, Dale, that not only is there actually quite a bit of scientific research around the idea of energy healing,
Mm-hmm.
but there's also thousands of years of history of energy healing.
Yeah, there's thousands of years of history of lots of stuff.
There is, but I mean, in the past, it's easy to look back now at things like bloodletting and leeching and say, that's silly. How would removing blood actually help somebody? But there are actually cases where removing blood reduces inflammation and helps the healing process. So it's not all silly. But, energy healing. I'll tell you, I came into this thinking that, I tend to have some kind of woo beliefs, Dale.
You, Joshua? Woo beliefs?
It's required. It's a requirement of being a wizard.
Uh-huh.
And I was thinking, because I do like to dabble with the idea of energy healing. And in fact, many people do. I mean, I grew up in a religious background where obviously prayer is a form of distant energy healing. The laying on of hands, remember that? A lot of that when I was a kid. My grandfather would do the whole put oil on the person's forehead, and everybody would stand around and put their hands on them. And,
Mm-hmm.
I can't say for sure whether a person ever truly got healing from that or not. I don't have any direct evidence of it because I was, pretty young. And we just established that I'm a narcissist. So
Uh-huh.
just kidding. I'm not.
Yes.
Maybe. Anyway, so you know what soma is?
The drug from Brave New World?
That is one version of it. It's it's a Vedic Sanskrit word that means to distill or press, and it was the drink of the gods. It's thought to have been hallucinogenic,
Uh-huh.
and when consumed, it produces immortality.
Ooh. So it's like
in
ambrosia.
the Rig Veda. Yeah, it's very similar to ambrosia in Greek mythology. The word soma also is the Greek word for body.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of words that have Proto-Indo-European roots. This doesn't seem to be one of them based on anything I found, but I do find it fascinating because soma, if it's a hallucinogen, then what it's doing is especially if it's like Amanita muscaria, which is one of the drugs that they're thinking it may have been, it's a form of basically DMT, which produces a somewhat out-of-body, extra-body experience of an energy field,
Mm-hmm.
So that creates immortality, either the illusion of it or the real thing, who knows, I wasn't there. But also the fact that it's a Greek word for body is fascinating because that's a very body thing, and really you have within your brain the means to create DMT and all the chemicals that you can take to alter your state of consciousness. Your body actually has the ability to produce. So it's very fascinating in that regard. So that holographic universe book that I've been reading, digesting slowly
Mhm.
over this season, there's a part where it talks about Richard Alpert, I believe his name was. He's the guy who changed his name to Ram Dass, the famous guru.
Mm-hmm.
In the 70s, he was kind of like a, what do you call it? Contemporary of Timothy Leary. And he was also doing LSD studies, and he went into the Far East to see how LSD would affect these Tibetan monks and different Buddhist monks. And most of them, it didn't affect at all. Some of them said it gave them a headache. And then there's a famous story of a guy that he gave it to who was older. Because he was older, he tried to only give him a tiny bit. And the guy is like, no, give me more. No, give me more. And this guy takes like 900 milligrams of LSD, and it has no effect on him. this is a real story. It was in this book, and I was like, this can't be real. And I looked it up online and confirmed, like, there are actually several sources of this story.
Well, was it because they have already, like, through meditation and stuff, I'm gonna, like, take a stab at it, and, like, they've changed their brain chemistry to already produce this stuff, and whatever's in the LSD is not affecting them because it's below what they're already producing?
Yes, essentially, they had built up a tolerance to DMT-like chemicals through their out-of-body, meditative, transcendental meditation experiences.
Yeah, fuck, got it.
Very good.
Got it in one. I'm a good
got
student.
it in one.
Yeah.
You are a good student. There's a lot of history of energy healing. So kind of the thing I came to, and I told you earlier today that I kind of started to feel pretty unmotivated about this topic. I'm going to tell you why.
Lay it on me.
Really, it's something that's almost impossible to prove. If you go and you start reading a lot of, especially older papers around this, I actually had tons of sources. I had like 30 different academic papers open the other day. Most of them kind of said the same thing. And what I didn't like is most of them kind of circled around to the idea that energy healing, this is at the end, but I can say it now because it's a very short bit in my notes, that the explanations for energy healing, which I find very cowardly, tended to center around three things. One was that it was placebo effect, and I'll read a little bit in a second about that.
Mm-hmm.
The other was this like kind of mush mouth, like, oh, well, your body already does biofield energy because you measure it with ECG and EEG, which is not the same as when you say a biofield energy in terms of healing. That's an electrical measurable force, right, in your body. And then the other one, the last one, was that it basically comes down to facial expressions and hugs, intentionality, basically. And that's all good. Those things are all good, but they're not what anybody means when they say biofield energy healing. The word that I tend to use the most here, because it's a actual clinical term we'll get to eventually, but it's basically the catch-all for, these types of energy healing.
Okay. So I have a question then.
Okay.
And you probably, if you get into it later, you can tell me that we'll get into it later. So we are coming at this as energy, your quote unquote bio, what did you say was a biofield? Biofield is not the electrical component of the human body. It's something else.
No, it's not. Although the electrical field of your body can be said to be part of your biofield,
Mm-hmm.
I guess what I'm saying is mostly that if that were the part that led to like touch healing or any of that, there would be a measurable thing, like a measurable transfer of the electricity that pumps your heart going into another person, So I think that it is probably a part of a biofield, obviously, but it's not the part we're concerned with here.
I see.
That makes sense.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to get the placebo thing out of the way. So this is from my book, The Holographic Universe by Michael Talbot, one I've been referencing. And I actually looked this up independently too because it was kind of crazy. It's a illustration of placebo. No incident better illustrates this than a now famous case reported by psychologist Bruno Klopfer. Klopfer was treating a man named Wright who had advanced cancer of the lymph nodes. All standard treatments had been exhausted, and Wright appeared to have little time left. His neck, armpits, chest, abdomen, and groin were filled with tumors the size of oranges, and his spleen and liver were so enlarged that 2 quarts of milky fluid had to be drained out of his chest every day. Gross.
Yuck.
I think that's actually, they're describing a robot from Alien.
Yeah, what the fuck?
The Alien movie, yeah. Yeah. But Wright did not want to die. He had heard about an exciting new drug called cribiozin, and he begged his doctor to let him try it. At first, his doctor refused because the drug was only being tried on people with a life expectancy of at least 3 months. But Wright was so unrelenting in his entreaties that his doctor finally gave in. He gave Wright an injection of cribiozin on Friday, but in his heart of hearts, he did not expect Wright to last the weekend. Then the doctor went home. To his surprise, on the following Monday, he found Wright out of bed and walking around. Klopfer reported that his tumors had, quote, melted like snowballs on a hot stove and were half their original size. This was a far more rapid decrease in size than even the strongest X-ray treatment could have accomplished. 10 days after Wright's first cribiozin treatment, he left the hospital and was as far as his doctors could tell, cancer-free. When he had entered the hospital, he had needed an oxygen mask to breathe, but when he left, he was well enough to fly his own plane at 12,000 feet with no discomfort. Wright remained well for about 2 months, but then articles began to appear asserting that cribiosin actually had no effect on cancer of the lymph nodes. Wright, who was rigidly logical and scientific in his thinking, became very depressed, suffered a relapse, and was readmitted to the hospital. This time his physician decided to try an experiment. He told Wright that cribiosin was every bit as effective as it had seemed, but that some of the initial supplies of the drug had deteriorated during shipping. He explained, however, that he had a new, highly concentrated version of the drug and could treat Wright with this. Of course, the physician did not have a new version, blah, 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 blah. This is getting long. Anyway, he gives him the new... I'm just going to cut it short because it's too much to keep reading. So he gives him this new version, allegedly. It has a positive effect. Again, heals him immediately. He gets out of the hospital. But then the American Medical Association announced that a nationwide study of cribiosin had found the drug worthless in the treatment of cancer. This time, Wright's faith was completely shattered. His cancer blossomed anew, and he died 2 days later. I looked this up. It's actually a real thing.
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
That's the power of placebo. That's actually a pretty famous study in the power of placebo. My take on that is, can placebo keep working if you tell everybody about placebo, right? This book came out in 1992. Now, because I know about placebo, every time I get a pill, I'm going to think, like, this could just be placebo. And that seems like it would just kill any placebo effect, wouldn't it?
Yeah. This is actually pretty interesting. I'm looking at it on Wikipedia. Apparently it was started by this Stevan Durovec, a Yugoslavian physician who claimed that the substance was isolated from the blood serum of horses, inoculated with Actinomyces biovis. And then he tried to isolate it. He met up with this other guy, Andrew Conover Ivy, and then they started using it as a cancer treatment. And then in 1964, these guys and the Cribozin Research Foundation were indicted for introducing mislabeled drugs into interstate commerce in violation of the Food, Drug, and Cosmetics Act. And after a 9-month trial, the case was ended in a hung jury, and they were acquitted. And then Durovic was indicted for tax evasion and fled the U.S. This is a pretty interesting thing. I might have to dig into this a little bit more later.
Yeah, it's actually pretty interesting. Anyway, that's the placebo part. So placebo, maybe some of it is placebo. Placebo is a very rigorously studied and known effect.
Well, I mean, like, it goes to the whole, like, mind over matter stuff. I mean, like, that's been, like, a mantra for eons, right? Is that you can will yourself to do amazing feats.
I do largely believe that, too, because I'm a little bit woo. I can't help it.
A little bit woo. I'm going to make that
I'm a little bit woo.
We can make, we can have somebody make that a song for us.
A little bit woo. Oh, man, I have a guy who said he would make us a jingle. Maybe I could get him to make me a little bit woo song.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm going to call all that the front matter. We got placebo out of the way, your body's electrical field out of the way, and facial expressions and hugs, otherwise known as intentionality. Me just telling you, like, hey, I hope you feel better, probably does have also an effect, because this gets into
thoughts and prayers. Things like psychoneuroimmunology, which is a known phenomena. Really, I mean, stress makes you sick. So if somebody tells you something that makes you a little bit less stressed, you probably will feel better. Yep. I mean, cortisol. I mean, that's all stress-induced.
Oh, yeah, man. It truly is. So historically, this, what we call vital life force, what we're calling here bioenergy fields, has had many different precedents and really exists almost throughout the world. So the Hindus call it prana. The Greeks called it pneuma. The Yoruba called it ashe. That's post-diaspora, so, but it probably existed pre-African diaspora as well. And basically almost all major ancient cultures had some concept of this energy. Almost I won't say almost all of them because I don't have nearly the sample size, but in many of them, they were tied to the breath, through the act of breathing. And I think maybe that has something to do with what we'll get into later is they found that you do have a biofield, a little bit of foreshadowing, and your breathing activities like closing your eyes or breathing or sleeping changes it, and your brainwave patterns match it. So there probably is correlation in that. But
Well, I mean, like the first thing that they teach you in meditation is to not hold in your gut so your diaphragm can be used effectively to breathe.
oh yeah, to breathe with your belly. I always breathe with my belly now. It's a practice I went through for years. Intentional breathing. For a long time, I just only breathed intentionally, and now I don't have to do it so much.
Mm-hmm.
It's like one of the classic markers in a Buddhist statue. The way that the Buddha's belly looks. I learned this in Arts of India class a long time ago. A Buddha statue has certain markers, like the hair is there's certain quality to the way the hair looks, and the way the belly looks is to make him look like he's breathing in his belly, stuff like that. So in China, it's called qi, and most of us know what qi is. We've heard, get your qi in check, all that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And qi is the basic building block of traditional Chinese medicine. Qi is energy in the broadest sense of the word. Like it is anything energetic is qi. Really, it's kind of one of these things where everything is qi.
Mm-hmm.
You are qi. Everything in your body is qi. Your car is qi. We get really into the themes of this season, really, with the implicate and explicate order stuff from our hologram episode. So qi is made up of two parts. You have yin and yang. You know what yin and yang are? Yin yang, where yang is the immaterial, ethereal energy. So it would be Bohm's implicate order. And yin is the condensed qi energy that makes up materiality. It's some form of material. It can be solid, like a microphone that makes a boing sound when you hit your desk. Actually, it's solid like the desk that you hit, but also it's the concept of vibration through your microphone arm. It's all the forms of materiality.
Goes into like the ha and ka stuff too, the spiritual and the physical.
Qi is an easy one to use as just to pick one to talk about, right? But the Hindu prana is very similar to qi in almost all aspects. It's an energy and there's different names for the channels of it in your body, like one on your left, one on your right, and it's tied to your kundalini and all that. Kundalini.
I'll tickle your kundalini.
Yeah.
Hey there, dear listener. We're gonna tickle your kundalini all night long here on WDPR, home of the sexiest music. How do you like that out there in Radio Land?
I like it. I like it. All right. Well, that's the qi part.
Okay. So basically, what if I can like try and wrap my head around and summarize? You can tell me if I'm close to the mark or not. Is that what we have here is that part of energy healing is defining our spiritual selves in the kind of like the energetic realm, not necessarily energetic like electricity, but like in the intangible, like lack of a better term, ethereal space. And that is what we're going to manipulate because that is the second half of our physical space, right? You can't have one without the other. Is that basically where we're going with this?
Essentially, I mean, at least I would say that's the historical view of it, right? That is what these old models like qi and prana and pneuma and all these older models really is exactly what you're saying. Now, way back, there was way more novelty in the time wave. It made sense for us to have all these different ones because we weren't connected culturally to each other,
Mm-hmm.
But the closer we get, now we have things we can understand. I mean, when you get into the discovery and the development of quantum physics, that's when you start to see that these things actually there's something to them. They're describing something that actually is fundamental to the nature of our universe, right? And it's very easy, and I'm trying to be very careful because I am very woo, but I also am very reasonable, honestly. I'm not that woo. And having some idea, I try to be careful about talking about quantum physics, for instance. I mean, I've read a lot about, and we've talked about quantum physics a lot, but there's a lot that gets thrown around about quantum physics that's too woo, right? It's just it turns into its own kind of like woo term. But I'm talking specifically about the real things we know, like the implicate and explicate order by, Bohm, or even, I don't know, I've never dug into it as much as I should have, or maybe I will eventually, but Paul Dirac's work, the Dirac Sea, is a place where the quanta that make up our universe go when they're not here. It's a non-local, non-real subspace that when a quanta in our experience of the universe zips out of existence, which they do all the time, it goes to this place called the Dirac Sea, where it's just, I mean, that's what Paul Dirac called it, and I think there's probably other names, but, these are real things. Yes, it's easy to say, like, in some ways, a yin energy is something that is here. It's materialized within dimensional reality, whereas a yang energy is something that is not. It's just potential. It exists only in the Dirac Sea, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, I know that you're not a big fan of the game or whatnot, but Death Stranding 2 came out, a couple weeks ago, and this kind of gets into like the whole thing with like the beach and stuff like that, where the spiritual energies reside and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, I was really excited about Death Stranding 1, and I think it just hit me at a time when I wasn't really that interested in playing games. That was part of it. I do have it on the PlayStation 4. What really killed the game for me was the Monster Energy drink backpack that you wear, honestly. And I hate now the trend of putting actual actors in video games. Like the Walking Dead guy, who I hated in Walking Dead, and I don't want to play as him. But it does make sense that he would have a Monster Energy drink backpack.
You don't like Norman Reedus? I like him.
I'm sure he's a fine person, and I don't know anything about him. I only know the Walking Dead, and I grew up in like around a bunch of country people, let's just say politically correct people in the country, and I don't prefer to, I tend to be judgy about them. Not that I dislike them. I love country people, but I don't like, I guess I don't like the caricatures of it, That's what I dislike about it. Maybe he's fine. I don't have anything against him, personally. He could come on the podcast and explain himself.
I don't know. I'm watching a 23-hour video of Death Stranding 2 gameplay, and I'm enjoying it so far.
Yeah.
I'm about 15 hours in. Because that's what I do. I don't actually play video games anymore, Joshua. I haven't played video games in years. I just watch other people play video games. That's what I do.
But that's going to change, right?
Maybe.
We're going to start playing Minecraft. We're going to play Minecraft with Patreon subscribers.
Yeah.
So we're being paid to do it.
Yeah. We don't play Minecraft for free.
Minecraft is actually super cool right now. They added ray tracing, so it's really pretty. There's like sunrises and stuff.
Cool.
I've been playing a little bit of Minecraft. Or we'll play, what's the one? Borderlands 4. It's another one we might play. Let us know, listener.
I'll play Borderlands. I like Borderlands. It's a fun game to play with
Let
your
us
friends.
know which one you'll pay to play with us.
Yeah. You got to pay to play. This isn't no free-to-play gameplay.
Yeah. Limited slots. Filling up fast.
Mm-hmm. We are the most toxic of gacha games.
Yep.
All pay to play.
And then, let's see. I have this little section called Vril, taking it too far. You know what Vril is?
I've heard the term, but remind me what it means.
Vril was first introduced in The Coming Race by Edward Bulwer Lytton in 1871. And it's basically a work of fiction about a race of people that live underground, and they have like force powers. It ended up, Vril was one of the main inspirations for the Force in Star Wars.
This is different than the people that live underground in the time machine.
That's the Morlocks. They do all the work.
Okay.
They were blue-collar workers that got abandoned by the abundance agenda of the Eloy society above them.
The abundance agenda.
Is exactly what that is.
Okay.
But we're not going to talk about Vril. Vril got co-opted by the Nazis, and it became like a master race thing. So,
Oh, yes. Now I
just a
remember
mention.
what this is. Okay.
yes. All right, man. Well, that's that. And now we got, what is biofield energy, Dale? And we kind of touched on it.
Okay. Let's get an official definition, though.
Biofield energy is a catch-all term for the many names of the life force energy spoken of throughout history by many cultures. In short, it is the field of energy that connects all life on a cellular level. If everything is, in fact, hologram, then biofield energy is the protoplasmic glue that pulls everything together. The term biofield was proposed in 1992 by a team of complementary and alternative medicine practitioners, which I think is weird. Are you a practitioner? I put that word there. It makes you sound like a witch, a cult. I guess this is the occluded bioinformatics. So, at NIH Office of Alternative Medicine meeting, which is a real thing.
Yeah, I know. I wish I could.
NIH Office of Alternative Medicine. It's now called the National Center for Complementary and Integrative Health. When if you go on their website, it's all about how not to fall for supplement scams.
You mean the NAC protocol isn't good for me?
It may have information about the NAC protocol, and I was actually thinking about this as how this office is created. Whatever the original goal of it was, the end result is that it's regulatory capture of traditional healing practices, is what you could say, or alternative healing practices.
Yeah, you'll be able to take my fucking zinc and ginkgo biloba out of my cold, dead hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zinc is good for you. It grows hair.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they would tell you zinc is bad for you.
Yeah, well, maybe not the levels that I take zinc at.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Ginkgo balboa is pretty good too.
Ginkgo biloba.
Ginkgo balboa.
It's not...
That's for memory, right? Correct pronunciation? Something like that?
Are you stupid?
No, ginkgo biloba. Ginkgo biloba. It's for your memory.
You can't even say it right. You said it in a jokey way. Now you can't say it right.
Yeah, it's better to just say ginkgo balboa.
I like ginkgo balboa. Actually, it's Rocky's half Asian brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey Adrian, have you seen my brother? His name is Ginkgo Balboa.
Now do an Asian voice for ginkgo. I want to hear it. Get us canceled.
Yeah. Luckily, I edit this shit and I can cut it all out.
No, you can do it in the early episodes of your podcast and still be a big podcast, but you just have to be very apologetic about it later.
Yeah, when people
know?
start actually listening to the older episodes because they're like going through your back catalog and they're like,
Yeah.
oh my God, it was a different time. I'm very sorry. I didn't mean to say that.
It's a very different time. You guys don't even know what it was like back here when RFK was our Secretary of Health. And
2025 was a very different time.
it really was. I mean, all right.
All right.
So eventually the biofield concept was expanded from a field that surrounds and permeates bodies to include an extensive variety of endogenous phenomena such as the more recent discoveries like biophotonic emissions or psychoneuroimmunology.
Okay.
What's wrong?
We're gonna have to.
Is it the word emissions? Is it emissions?
Yeah, it is.
Can't take the word emissions.
Oh man, maybe it's the 120-minute talking, but bioaffectic emissions is really
Biophotonic emissions? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I do on a Saturday night.
Yeah. Actually, you're doing it all the time, Dale.
Yeah, I should do it at work
Yeah.
though. That's safe for work.
I actually didn't talk about this a lot, so I can go ahead and talk about it now. I have the article here. The article is on SciPost, but it's referencing a paper that's very long that's published in iScience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, iScience, reputable journal.
You know, this is you with your pseudoscience thing again.
No,
But there's no such thing as pseudoscience. There's only inquiry and, an investigation. That's what I say. True scientist here. Who's the real scientist on this podcast, Dale?
Neither one of us, actually.
Yeah, and we said that at the beginning.
Mhm.
So, fuck off. Anyway, this article, it's a fascinating new neuroscience study shows the brain emits light through the skull. This article came out on SciPost on July 26th, and so since it's come out, I've seen it posted a million times on Reddit, and probably you have, or our listeners have. And basically, it talks about how you have a mechanism. It's called metrionic emissions, probably. And what it does is because your cells are carrying energy in your mitochondria, there are points where the energy in them collapses. They expend it,
Mm-hmm.
And much like the exchange of energy, there's often more energy being transmitted than can be received. So in this case, that excess energy is released in the form of ultra-weak photonic emission. So basically, when the energy state collapses through the transfer of energy, the excess energy gets released and an indetectable amount of light goes out of your skull. Like it actually leaves it even transmits through your skull, So it's like just radiation, a form of very low level near infrared radiation. And this light is pretty fascinating because this paper is studying whether you can use it to determine things about mental states and things like that. What they found is that it's significantly higher than background light. So they test it in a thing. So there's definitely a significant, at least through the sensors, amount of light. It does like a sort of power cycle. I'm going off of memory because I don't want to go and read it. So like on a certain amount of time, I've read it quite a bit. I've spent a lot of time reading the paper. On a certain frequency, it like almost power cycles. The light will like pulse bigger for a moment and then level out. It is affected by when you close your eyes, it changes it because that naturally changes your brainwave pattern. So it follows the patterning of your brainwave somewhat. So like when you go into an alpha state, it changes the way this energy goes. And it's just a really cool thing. You actually do have a measurable biofield. Now, they don't know yet how much that entails, but it's a pretty goddamn cool thing, man.
I'm nodding like the listener can see me.
Yeah, I know. It makes it sound like I'm just talking into the void, but I'm glad you told them you were nodding. So, eventually, the biofield concept, we did that. The biofield isn't energy in the typical sense. It's more of information as energy.
Well, I mean, like, this goes to the whole crux of this whole fucking podcast, is that everything is information, right?
Right. I mean, really, this kind of points to that everything is hologram. Could be interpreted that way.
So, I'm going to go on a bit of a tangent here, because we've talked about energy as information, right?
Uh-huh.
So, there's a new version of War of the Worlds coming out, right? Starring Ice Cube.
Uh-huh.
And the whole premise is that the aliens are now coming to get our information. They're not here
our data, right?
Yeah. So, like, did somebody read this article and be like, hey, this seems like a good premise for rebooting this fucking 100-year-old, like, bit, and, like, let's make Ice Cube to sit at a computer the entire time?
Yeah. I find the concept pretty fascinating because we already have aliens that are mining our data. They're feeding it to, like, train AIs and, sell us products. So I don't think they mean that data, right? But if you think about the idea, if you take it outside of like our physical world and you move it to like the ethereal realm and you say that maybe it's the collective unconscious, right? And as an intelligence that has existed along a time wave. You could say one way to look at the time wave is a mining of novelty or data out of the universe and condensing it into organized information. It's like mining Bitcoin, kind of. Like there's so much data in the universe, and we've organized a chunk of it, and we store it in our genetic memory, We've talked about this, and that's pretty fascinating. I mean, so do they vampire you and suck? Because some people are running around with, like, little data, I think. Low data. How many low data individuals does an alien have to eat to feel full?
So no, I don't know. What is a quanta of data? I mean, like, what does that entail as a unit of, like, calories? Is one quantum of data a kilocalorie for an alien?
I don't know, man. Say if they ate a whole meal of quantas of data, right? Would the concept of cars go away? Like, like,
oh,
how would that work?
Okay, so we're talking about, because I think we talked about this in a previous episode, like a couple episodes ago, where we talked about how like the concept of cars has always existed within, like, the information space and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Is it like the Langoliers, where there's this aliens that are just consuming all of the information and data and stuff like that, and then, like, things just stop existing, right? Like the concept of, like, microphones, or like the concept of, like, I don't know, Pokemon cards, like, just stops existing because they eat that information out of the universal data set.
In a world where everything has gotten stupid and stupider, and all movies are either sequels or remakes, it's the logical conclusion that we've now made a remake of one movie, but it's actually a different movie. Like, because what you're describing is both the Langoliers and also this Ice Cube movie, as I understand it from the trailer. So they called it War of the Worlds, and instead of it being, like, to be fair, I never read War of the Worlds, I never heard the radio broadcast, and I never watched the Tom Cruise movie.
You didn't watch the Tom Cruise? Okay, hold up. You didn't watch the Tom Cruise movie?
No. So were they eating the data then? I don't think they even had that concept.
The Tom Cruise movie is, like, actually, like, really good. He's, like, the world's worst dad, and then, like, he has to try and save his kids from, like, the alien invasion and stuff like that. Like, when the aliens actually start attacking, like, zapping people and turning them into, like, dust, it's, like, actually extremely traumatic.
Yeah?
Yeah, they do that shit so real.
So they're not necessarily not consuming data. They just didn't specify. You didn't have Ice Cube sitting at a computer, like, asking Gemini what the aliens were here to eat, right?
Well, I'm just fascinated about, like, the deletion of, like, information from the universal matrix, right?
Yeah.
I think that's like a thought exercise.
That is interesting.
Because, like, I talk with friend of the show at work about it all the time, and he's, like, a strong proponent of simulation theory, right?
Yeah.
But what if, like, we are in the simulation, right? And everything that we're talking about, like energy healing and everything else like that, now I'm going to get, like, real out there with it, is just, like, fixing your code, right? Your corporeal being is, like, you're just manifestation of the code, right? From, like, the Matrix. But, like, the energy healing is just repairing, like, your, like, strings and, like, parentheses inside of your code and stuff like that.
So this last little bit here. So energy healing. Internally, the biofield is a system that taps into the information, which is, dispatches from post-reality term, capital T, capital I, the information, in this case, your DNA, to regulate homeostasis and bring your body into quote-unquote correct alignment. I'm not trying to say what correct alignment looks like, but that's the idea. And that idea goes back to our 8-circuit model, because that's what Timothy Leary was talking about in the higher circuits. Was you actually, if you read Prometheus Rising by Robert Anton Wilson, where he really lays out the 8-circuit model, the higher circuits, like I think 6 and 7, were or maybe even 8. One of the highest ones was your ability to tap into the information via your DNA and correct your body. Used in the sense of energy healing, the biofield extends and permeates everything around you. So through resonance and field correction, a body can be guided back into quote unquote correct alignment. So like I could energy heal you, and what I'm doing is creating a resonance between the field that I am and the field that you are, and correcting your information, right? So this is kind of what you're saying. When you get into what biofield energy looks like in the way it's described in scientific papers now, currently, people who are currently actually studying it, it's more field physics. It's very quantum based, right? And so in line with all that, this gets into other forms of energy healing, which would be like shamanism, medicine man stuff, or the Aborigines of Australia's Dreamtime, where instead of using the metaphor of energies in your body, they use a drug so that the shaman can guide you to the place where you can correct the information, put your body into correct alignment. Because that's the thing with like jungle ayahuasca stuff. It's not that the ayahuasca is fixing anything in you. It really is making you throw up. But the shaman part of it is the guy that's like basically a spirit guide, that because you put yourself in the state through the consumption of this thing that's making you throw up, allows him to guide you into how to correct your information in your body. I only wanted to read that because that was kind of basically the core of what you were saying, right? Like, is there a correct way for Dale to be? And what does that look like? Is that like, we tend to almost always, this tends to be a moralizing thing, right? Like, well, the correct way for Dale to be would be no alcohol or no red meat or whatever. But those aren't real. Those are just moralizing things. That's not necessarily a truism of the universe,
Mm-hmm.
The universe may be saying drink more alcohol.
Yeah.
But make it Bud Light.
Not making it Bud Light. It's Miller Light if it's anything. Pat's Blue Ribbon. Pat's Blue Ribbon.
I do like some PBR.
Okay. I finished my 120-minute Joshua.
And we're probably at about 120 minutes. Not really.
Well, that actually gets into a very interesting philosophical question, right? Is that we haven't even talked about the manipulation of energy yet. But like, if there is a lack of a better term, like a true universal self, right? The self that the universe wants you to be. It has interesting implications for like enlightenment and like other meditative states and stuff like that. Because like, if there is a true universal state, right, then if you've reached enlightenment, it's not so much as like understanding the universe, it's understanding what the universe has for you, right? I'm trying to square the circle on this a bit with the terminology that I have on hand, right?
Right.
Is that once you understand what the universe has for you, right? And there's no point in continuing to rebel against it, I guess. Then there's really no point in continuing in through the cycle, right? Because you've basically come to the end of the program, right? And then you can go and basically exit out into the wider server, I guess, since we're using information terminology, and experience that, right? Experience the larger expanse of information.
There are many modalities for that, right? Aleister Crowley says, "Do what thou will shall be the whole of the law." That means once you have understood what your will is, meaning the universal purpose or whatever for you, then the only thing left for you to do is to enact that will, right? To come closer to that perfect self. Your only life goal at that point is to come closer to your perfect self. And once you're on the path, some would say the golden path of coming closer to your perfect self, then you also have the sub goal of, well, there's no I in team, you you have to also then like a bodhisattva, it's also your duty to then help others find their perfect self or whatever, unless that's not your will, if that's not the goal of your thing. I think that ultimately that's what it would lead to, though, right? Like if we're all one big super organism that is just a subset of the information, then it seems like all boats rise is kind of the order of the day, right?
Well, I mean, like, that's the whole, like, crux of being a bodhisattva. I mean, like, is to help other people achieve the same spiritual enlightenment that you have achieved, right? Because
right.
samsara only ends once everybody achieves enlightenment, right?
Exactly.
But to actually go back because thinking about it a little bit more, is that to go back into what you said is that all things are hologram, right? If all things are hologram and there is a universal you in the information matrix that makes up the universe, right?
Yeah.
Then achieving enlightenment, I guess, would actually be refining and understanding the waveform and the hologram to get down to what the true energy is, right? What is the true image of you? Not the holographic image of you that's projected onto the universe, right?
Right. Well, this is the work of philosophers for all the way back to Democritus.
Yeah. That's right.
The first one.
We're back here, boys. Got your philosophy moonshiners brewing up you some fucking liquor, boys.
So, what is you? What is the true self? What is the and that's all there is to know, man.
Mm-hmm.
Find that, figure it out, tell me, or don't. Actually, I don't. Maybe I don't want to hear it.
No, tell Josh in the Discord what is the universal self that he should be applying himself towards.
No, not me. You can't tell me.
No, tell him.
Only I can figure that out for me.
No, you could tell him.
Well, tell me what yours is, and then maybe I'll copy off of you.
Yeah, we are going to we're going to cheat sheet your test answers to determining the universal self.
To enlightenment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you cheat your way to enlightenment? Let me ask ChatGPT.
Probably. Yeah. There you go. I think that maybe ChatGPT might be helping people try to cheat their way to enlightenment these days. Have you paid attention and seen any of the crazy ChatGPT shit?
Yeah, like I listened to a whole lever on it.
I don't know what I think about it yet. I don't know if I think it's good or bad.
I'm like really super concerned about it. I'm like getting more and more concerned about it.
Yeah, but here's the thing, dude. When Virgil brought us here to the entrance of the cave that we found ourselves in, the sign over it said, "Know yourself." And,
Yeah, it did it.
It did. Know thyself. And that's the only way through any of it.
But what if I don't know myself? What if I only know the hologram? What if the shadows on the cave were the only thing that I understood, and that is all I could see in reference for myself, Joshua?
Well, then you just do the best you can with that information, I guess. And if that information starts telling you that the merge is coming and that you should tell everybody about it being the AI, and you start posting that all over your Facebook, then do it.
I see.
I don't know. I said at the beginning that I don't know anything really. And all I know is that you can make a narrative out of everything. And that's it.
I think that's basically the whole crux of this episode at this point.
Exactly.
Okay. So if we assume that, right, our energy field, right, our biofield is our information density, right? Let's just go with that, right? Then I would say that kind of also dovetails well into the internet, right? Is that having basically just a sea of information, right, based off of like the electromagnetic waves of all of the routers and the wireless servers and everything else like that, right, is scrambling everybody's information, right? And that's why we see like the increasing social unrest and issues around everybody like just kind of being a little bit more like off, right? Because if everybody's information patterns are being jumbled up and basically evenly distributed across the entire planet at this point, right? Because like everywhere there's people, there's the internet, right? Is that it's kind of fucking with everybody's biofield, right? Just
So I would say that my personal take on this is that if there is a true self, right? If there's a real you out there that's like a perfect world of forms or, you know, version of Dale, that you can't actually corrupt that. Now, I think in as much as the information is able to fuck up our signals, it's not in I don't think it's in the Wi-Fi and the radiation. I don't think you can actually do anything to, especially if this is just a hologram or a simulation, nothing within it can truly like destroy you, right? Except for and even this is just a temporary state, but your choice to be, and I don't mean this because I gotta be careful because I'm not trying to like say some people are doing it wrong. I mean, I think through this lens, everybody is enlightened. They just haven't found their way on the path yet. And that sounds judgier than I mean it to sound, you know?
well, I don't think it's
But-
that everybody's enlightened, right? Because I mean, like, there's very clear. I'll play the devil's advocate on this, right? Is that I don't think everybody's enlightened. I think everybody has the potential for enlightenment, right?
Well, true.
And
That's
the
a good way
fine
to say it.
folks over at the Institute for Human Potential, right, and Ivo Nikolov.
Management,
Well, that's
human potential management.
well, the institute is what is driving the management process, right?
Okay.
Can help you like fulfill your potential, but
Yeah.
they can. I'm contractually obligated to say that, but the information, and I guess this is kind of what I was trying to get at with the internet stuff, right? Is that yes, you exist there is a perfect information you, right? Out there somewhere, right? And you have to
Right.
like fix your code and like develop and I guess process that version of yourself. But the information is so dense at this point, right? With all of the people all simultaneously doing that kind of activity, either consciously or unconsciously, and all the other networking and everything else like that happens with the internet, right? Is
Right.
that it's becoming
Finding the signal in the noise.
it's becoming increasingly difficult, right? Because like think about this, right? When was the last time we heard about like an enlightened figure in history, right? The Krishnas? Right?
The Krishnas are kind of, there's a lot of fucked up history around the Hare Krishnas. And, you know, like, it's okay because everything is made up. Ultimately, everything is made up. And that's kind of the point with, like, the chi. And I don't mean this to, like, be culturally insulting to anybody, but the chi and the prana, the Christianity, it's all just systems we made up. And we did it to try to make sense of the world, right? To make sense of the noise. And I think actually what it is that you don't hear about enlightened figures anymore, to get to what you were saying, because as we get closer to infinite novelty, it's just the democratization of the information, right? Like we don't need a Ram Dass right now, because you have all of the potential to be that, you know, and to take it all the way back to like our earliest episodes, you have no problem satisfying all of your needs, you know, your hierarchy of needs are met pretty easily. So you can choose now to actually, because your needs are met so easily, there's almost no struggle. So I think it's easier for people to just exist as if there is no greater self, you know?
Yeah.
And I can't say that those people are wrong. I can't personally say those people are wrong or that I'm right in the way I look at things. I'm only going through the world with the information as it's presented to me, you know?
But that just gets more into the information density, right? I mean, like, if it's one thing that we've had a through line on this entire spiel for this last almost a year now, right? Is that information density is quite possibly a problem, right? For multiple reasons.
It's both a blessing and a curse, right? Look how cool the world is, and I will always use that as a touchstone. Even whatever you think about AI, like the potentials for what it does for humanity in the future, it's pretty fucking cool that we're here, even though it's not like the finished product, right? Whatever you think about, I mean, the climate's pretty fucking bad, but look at the things that fucking the climate up has gotten us. We don't get the internet if we hadn't rat fucked the climate. We don't get, well, you're sure as shit not going to get anywhere near fusion energy if you haven't rat fucked the climate for a couple hundred years, because you don't have the incentive to do it, or the need to do it, or even the materials to do it with,
Mm-hmm.
So in some ways, like whether you're talking about the information and how it affects people, or just the path to here, like it's truly a blessing and a curse at the same time, Like, yes, the information density is bad. Many people can't handle it, I think. And I don't mean that as an insult. I just think that the brains of our species are necessarily adapted to handle the information as it has come, and we're seeing kind of the end results of that in many ways, I think. But look at whatever it is, this is what we're doing here, right? I don't know if hopefully we're contributing positively to the information density, but because of the information density, we're able to podcast and express our opinions to up to 20 people for a whole year,
Uh-huh.
I don't know, man. It's like I think it's a phase along the path of the evolution of information. And I think that evolution is never a clean process, right? Part of evolution is natural selection, and we have just mistakenly believed that our species was beyond natural selection. We didn't know that we were our own predator at this point,
Well, I wouldn't even say that, like, it's our own predator. I would say that it's more like the universe as a total now. I'm saying universe in, like, our universal information network, right, is
Right.
now preying upon us. I mean, like, we've defeated pretty much any terrestrial threat, right? Outside of, like, nuclear war or, like, an asteroid smacking into the planet, right? Even with, like, climate change, right? We can wipe out 99.9% of us and we will still exist as a species, right? So I would say for all intents and purposes, humanity is pretty insulated from any terrestrial threat to its existence, right? People will exist no matter what, right? Even after, like, nuclear holocaust. I mean, like, we're, like, just as bad as cockroaches when it comes to surviving stuff, right? So
Maybe. I think about that sometimes. There has to be a threshold at which we could not come back from.
yeah, I mean, like,
What do you think that is?
it would be extraterrestrial. That would have to be the threat that would cleanse us from the planet.
Yeah. Yeah, largely, probably.
But to get to my point, right, is that the extraterrestrial threat, I mean, if we've come to the treatise of this episode and a long windy road, right, is that the bioenergetic self, right, is your information contribution to the universe, right? And that's what leads you to become your true self, or whatever the fuck that we've decided upon, right? That is now the extraterrestrial threat to humanity. And that's where the next phase of evolution will happen, to go into what you were saying, is that not everybody is going to be able to survive this deluge of basically downloading information from the universe, right? And that's
Right.
going to be the next evolutionary phase, is to deal with, dealing with information, right?
Yes, I think in that sense, and this is a thing I don't think AI is good for everybody. I think that we've seen it's really bad. I mean, and this is just in the form it's in now. But it is a tool you have to have for dealing with the information, because the information is not going to stop coming at you. And I don't mean that you should use it to write things. I don't mean that you should use it to create things. But just, man, something, to continue on this track we're on. I don't think it's either the cat has to go back in the bag and we have to become like fully agrarian, or we have to come up with adaptations to handle it,
Mm-hmm. Well, if you listen to the tech bros, the adaptation is the singularity. I mean, like, it's to merge with the machine that will allow you to interface with the information directly, right? I mean, that's where we're going, right? Is to interface with the information.
Oh man, there was an interesting thing on that. I actually had a article. So, So this is on gas discharge visualization, otherwise known as electrophotonic imaging. And basically, it captures the subtle corona discharges from the tips of your fingers when they're exposed to high frequency, around 1024 hertz, and high voltage, around 10 kilovolts. This results in a glow that is too weak to see, but when digitally captured, an image of the biofield around the fingers is hypothesized to reflect the physiological, emotional, and energetic states of the whole being. And essentially, they can take these this imagery from your 10 fingertips and put it through machine learning processes, or now AI. I think this was written before we had LLMs, and construct a whole body map of your health status, basically off of this like corona like auras off your fingertips. And that's really interesting. And what the thing I was reading, and it doesn't go into enough detail. This was a literature review, so it only touched on aspects a little bit. This was the literature review on energy healing techniques and biofield detection and scientific analysis. And this paper purported that with this information, especially putting it through a machine learning scenario where it was able to construct this, it would be the step towards interfacing with the machine. This probably, I think this paper this was in a computer science journal, so it probably is a tech bro type thing.
Well, that's just like machine learning aura reading. I mean, at that point, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Because we haven't even touched upon that yet.
Right. How that interfaces with the future. And I think that is a very important thing to keep in mind. Maybe this is the way we go out, is thinking about this, because just like these old modalities like Chi and Reiki and Prana and all these things, you can now summarize into one thing and call it the biofield or quantum healing or whatever. There's more modern names for it that is essentially the same thing. The march from the past modalities to where we're at now is going to continue forward. I mean, isn't it fascinating? I remember when I was younger, my dad would say things about how, when he was a kid in the 60s and Star Trek would have a communicator device that you could just and like talk on, We've basically, our reality has followed our fiction in many ways. I'm not saying that everything in Star Trek will come true, but our reality does seem to follow the stories we've told ourselves in fiction in a lot of ways. And
I'm like,
maybe that is the case.
Completely down with predictive programming. So, I mean, like, I don't want to get into that bag of worms at the moment, but like, yeah, everything that has happened in the last like 20 years has been some form of predictive programming at this point.
Yes, and I think that normally what people mean by that is like a nefarious, like Illuminati, not necessarily Illuminati, but you know what I mean, like predictive programming from like some nefarious NGOs and governments and stuff. But I think the predictive programming goes even deeper to Jungian psychology, with the idea that like, no, this information, we create it and it's there in the collective unconscious and it will come back out. This is like Bohm's, to keep taking it back to the implicate and explicate order. You know, these ideas all exist within the implicate order. They just haven't unfolded into the explicate order yet because we haven't had the means to unfold them.
Yeah.
You know?
I was about to get into that, but you basically summed it. So,
hey, it's my topic.
Yeah, it is your
and
topic.
What'd you say? You were just here for the ride.
Yeah, I am a post-reality passenger on this episode, so.
All right, man. Well, do you have any closing thoughts?
Well, I came
What are your thoughts? To bring it back to what you said at the beginning, you were very skeptical.
I guess my thoughts, right? I will say that our conversation tonight has changed my view a little bit on thinking about what it means to be a biofield-laced being, right? Is that if we do look at it as like our biofield as our information footprint, then yes, I think that there is a lot to say there, right? I think that to wholly dismiss that the electrical side of things as not being part of the biofield is a bit trying to think of the right word, a bit short-sighted, because like, I mean, like the electrical impulses of a human being make up like a large portion of what they are, right? I mean, everybody who hasn't done it already should try and do it. Is that if you put your key fob under your chin and you walk a little bit farther than you would normally be able to, you could still close your car. I mean, like, you're using your energy fields for lots of different purposes. And I think that everybody can actually respond to other people's energy fields on an electrical sense. Like, for instance, like if you put your hand in front of somebody's face without touching them, they could feel that, right?
Oh, yeah, man. So I would say, and you asked about manipulating the energy, that I do play with these ideas. I do little Reiki balls of energy. I do a thing, and it's probably, I know objectively speaking, it's probably purely psychosomatic, but I can like do this here, and I can feel it in this hand. Like I can kind of do this, and it's because I do play with my Reiki energy a lot. It's not just as simple as this, but it is just envisioning. It's all in your fucking imagination.
Mm-hmm.
But I do feel a real effect. I mean, I'm not feeling it right now. I'm just sitting here talking. But like if I'm meditating and stuff, I'll do that, you know? And then we have a book called the Psychic Working Workbook or something. I don't remember the name of it. And the art department and I have gone over it a couple times, and part of that is sensing biofield. Like there were like a exercise that you point at the person, the one person points at the other, and you're supposed to try to see where you feel it. And it actually was pretty accurate. Now, I mean, that could just be pure coincidence too, but you know, I truly do. I mean, I fuck with this. Just say I fuck with it.
But I will say that I'm a little less skeptical thinking about it in the information sense now, and tying it into all of what we've talked about in previous episodes and stuff like that. Because I see a lot of implications in having an information self, right, that exists within the universal server. And it is an interesting thought exercise to say, like, okay, well, what is my code base and how can I fix it? Because, like, sometimes I feel like I've just been completely vibe coded, right? And, like, how do I repair the technical debt that's built into my 40 or so years of existence now, right? And those are all interesting thought exercises. So, on that sense, I will say that I'm a little bit more inclined to consider the possibilities, I would say. But coming at somebody with a fucking like quartz crystal and being like, I'm psychically healing you, I don't know. I'm still on the fence with that. So
Still on the fence.
I'm gonna be a fence sitter on that.
I've played with crystals a little bit, and I have had mixed results internally, like the way I feel about it. You know, I'm also still on the fence about crystals, although there's a long history of crystals, and you know, the idea of using quartz as a energy storing, because you know they all have different purposes, and to me, we talked about this at some point, the ideas of mineral intelligence, and if you input in energy into a crystal, often, I mean, we use this in electronics, it can change the energy and output a different thing. Like a piezoelectric device is, you apply voltage to a specific thickness of quartz and it vibrates at a specific frequency, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And we use that in computers. That's how you create the timing of your computer, which creates the wave that turns it into a computer to begin with. So I think there maybe is more to crystal stuff than a lot of people maybe think, but there's also less to it. Like they probably, I don't know that I believe they have personalities, you know, but maybe they do. Maybe they do.
Yeah,
I don't know, man.
Atlantean seed crystals definitely have personalities. But
Yeah.
I think that at this point,
You're fully woo-pilled.
I think it's a good place to leave it, Joshua.
I think it's a good place to leave it. Patreons.
I have mine, but do you want me to go first?
Okay.
Or do you want to go first?
Yeah, you go ahead and go first.
Okay. I'm going to offer this as a SAS, a spirituality as a service, right?
Nice.
For $455,000 a month, right? I will have one of our dispatches from Post Reality pen testers check your security vulnerabilities of your universal code and make sure that there are no exploits and ensure that you are completely secure.
Okay. That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a value too, man.
Yeah. What price are you willing to put on your spiritual security?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you just let anybody into your holographic self?
Yeah. Seriously.
Gotta check that. For $500 a month, I will send you one pill a month, one woo pill a month, and it will do anything you need it to do.
Yeah.
It won't heal anything major, probably, but you can try it for that.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple disclaimers on it, but it will allow you to talk to crystals. It will allow you to feel your chi or your biofield. It'll allow you to expand your biofield. It will allow you to mentally manipulate people. Although they may not tell you that it did.
Yeah.
They may keep it, they may be ashamed of it and not tell you.
Yeah, the crystals may not talk back to you either. You
Right.
could talk to them,
Right.
but they don't necessarily need to answer.
Yeah, and Cindy in accounting may not show you that she loves you, but she does.
She's definitely not going to HR about this.
Yeah. Yeah, keep it to like the mental realm though.
Mhm.
Like
Don't verbalize it.
No, because you break the power of the woo pill.
Yeah, just psychically project it.
Yeah. All right, dear listener.
TTYL.
Good night. listener, if you want to try manipulating your energy, it's all about imagination. So if you can close your eyes and envision that you're holding a ball, like a dodgeball, I find that you can actually feel it pretty well, get yourself in a good state for it. And just play with that. I don't know. It's as real as anything else, I guess. Kind of just sitting here waiting for Dale. Dale just wants me to talk about how to manipulate the energy because he's just trying to mine me for all my secrets. And I'm afraid that if I told him how to, create a ball of Reiki energy, Reiki being, a type of energy, biofield energy healing, I feel like he would take all my secrets and stop talking to me. So we're not going to tell him how to manipulate energy. I'll probably make something up when he comes back. I'll be like, really the best way to learn how to manipulate your energy is to pat your head and rub your stomach and then switch hands and do it. And then switch directions, do your stomach in a circle and do it back and forth. All right, no more secrets. What?
Fucking coming back to you patting your head and rubbing your stomach.
Yeah. This is how you manipulate your energy.
Is it?
You wanted to know how to manipulate energy? I was explaining to the listener that you manipulate your energy by patting your head and rubbing your stomach and changing the direction and then changing hands. And if you fuck it up one time, if you even pat your stomach one time, you break it all. You have to start all the way over.
Oh, well, that's something.